SalesCrunch. Learn more, earn more.
Great people do great things. And you've got to persuade me or the VC of that. So just a very quick story on this, I'm going to watch my time, is I got a pitch from a guy who was so salesy in the negative way, like coming on really strong. He was talking about a device that he was, for the company he was running, and it did meter management for the house. And what it did is it had algorithms that could figure out spikes in your energy, and they had mapped algorithms to know what kind of device caused that sort of spike, so it could tell you what devices in your house were consuming the most energy. Pretty clever idea, I think. The whole time he was presenting, I'm like, yeah, but does it really work? Like, I just felt like I was being sold to, right? On the penultimate slide, he put up his bio. He was a PhD from Caltech. If he would have led with it, and people, every time I tell the story, people are like, you should listen to him anyway. Like, perhaps I would have if he didn't come across so salesy. But I will tell you, if I knew that up front, it doesn't mean he'd be successful, but I would have been leaning forward the whole meeting. Okay, there's a PhD from Caltech, one of the finest institutions in the country, is going to tell me about how he's going to save energy. That's something I'd listen to. Credibility is so important. Then the messages Sean put up. Why buy anything? Why buy me? Why buy now? Those are the three principles of sales. If you can't convince somebody why buy anything, which is about persuading someone they have a problem, and believe me, companies are filled with problems. That's all companies have. As a manager, you're a manager of problems. If you can't persuade somebody of that, hang up your cleats and join somebody else. It's the easiest thing to do. You ought to be able to persuade 70% of people why buy anything. In a VC pitch, I suppose that's convincing them it's an interesting market. Why buy me, or why buy mine, is about persuading them that your offering is better than the competition. Nobody likes to buy anything without checking the competition. It's part of, as human beings, when we purchase things, we want to feel like, anyway, that we did some level of due diligence. So if we're going to look at investing in company A, the very first thing I do is work with my associates and say, who else is doing this? Because I don't want to invest and find out there was some amazing company, and then later I got to explain to my LPs why we didn't even know. Okay? So we want options. So phase 2 is why buy me? And in sales, you ought to be able to win that, let's call it 25 to 33% of the time, if you're good at selling. You won't win every time, but you ought to win your fair share. I don't know if that's 50%, 40%. I kind of think it's 25 to 33%. The number one reason sales stall, the number one reason VCs don't give you money is why buy now? There's no urgency. Like, I see deals all day long. If I don't do this one, I'll do the next one. I mean, you really need to create that sense of momentum. The only thing I would take issue with is your friend's comment, do not tell people you're gone the whole month of July. That's like a sure sign you're not an entrepreneur, and most likely will drive people to not invest. I tell people fundraising works the same way high school worked. You're thinking about asking a girl to the prom. You know you want to wait till the last minute because guys never make up their mind. And your whole thought is, well, maybe I'll ask Susie, but maybe I'll ask Sally, or maybe I'll ask Tina. I don't really know. So you want to delay it. Then you hear that your rival is thinking about asking any of the three, it doesn't matter. You will ask that girl before lunch. Because if you don't get to her, someone else is. VCs probably don't acknowledge this to themselves, and nobody wants to think we're subjected to these visceral human reactions, but we are. I put out a tweet last week basically saying what's happening in the market right now is VCs are being driven by a fear of missing out more than by a sense of purpose of what they're investing in right now because the market is overheated. You need to cater to that. A sense that they're missing out. A sense that other hot people are talking to you. A sense that they're kind of going to miss the train if they don't get on board now. It is very hard for you to say that It doesn't sound very credible, or if it's credible, it sounds arrogant when you say, I'm talking to Sequoia, so, if you guys are interested, you better move now. I mean, you just can't really say that. But I like to triangulate. You need to find ways to find people who know those VCs who can allude to how fast it's moving. I got an email from Josh Kushner. I don't know if you guys know him. He's an angel investor. Actually, he's kind of developing the Midas touch, I think, in New York City. And I quite like him, and I respect him. And, respect, getting intros or advice from people who we respect is an incredibly important thing. He sent me an email saying, you need to see these two companies when you're in New York. I mean, my schedule was already completely full. I was flying in on Monday. I kind of wanted to leave Monday night open because I wanted to wake up early on Tuesday. And he's like, you need to see him. And the only thing in my schedule was to see him Monday night. So I stayed up till 1:30 Monday night, seeing 3 companies, 2 of which Josh told me to see. And I had a sense of, well, I don't want to miss it. Like Josh told me I have to see him. So find a way to do that. I'm going to stop there. I'm going to take a few questions, but not many. And I am here tomorrow night if anyone's interested. I've got about an hour-long presentation where I'm going to talk about how to get started in a company, how to raise capital, whether you should be lean or fat, operational issues of dealing with early-stage companies, and finally, how to pick a good idea. Because I'm on a mission to make sure nobody else does bar and restaurant location-based deal services. I'll take about 3 questions or 4.
SalesCrunch. Learn more, earn more.